Hello?
Yes, sir.
You can see the screen, right? You can see the EC2 launching.
Yes, sir.
Okay. Now there is something called, there are different kinds of instances. There are different ways to build your instances. All right. So instance types, launch template, support request. You can request for your instance in different ways. What we are doing now is called on-demand request. Apart from on-demand request, where when you need an instance, just go there and set one up. There are other ways you can request instance. You can request instance by support request, right? So support request, what does that mean? All right, so we'll come to support request and we say request support instance. Request support instance, tell us your application or task need. All right, so what do you need? Load balancing workload. I need the instance for big data. I need a server for flexible workload. I need a server for defined duration workload. All right. Let us say load balancing workload, right? And then what template are you running? Maybe for web server. All right. I mostly take this in theory. I mean, that I don't have any preference for availability zone. And then whatever you set up for me, use that kick here. And then these are the prices. Fleet request. Okay. You are doing T1 micro, you'll be charged for spot 0.002. All right, this is the capacity, your CPU, your memory. Your storage is constant. It's always 8 GB. So there's no need to repeat it. All right. So you'll be charged this amount for spot request compared to the actual amount, you'll be saving 90%. All right. If you do spot request. All right. If you are going for T2 micro, you'll be paying this amount and then you are saving 60, almost 70% of the normal fee, of the normal charge if you were doing on demand. All right, one instance will be set up for you. So what are we saying? We are saying that on the spot request, means spot request spot instance, spot request is much cheaper than on demand, than just going there anytime and spinning up a server. It can be expensive if you compare to spot request. And what is spot request? Spot request means give this server to me only when it is available. When it is available, let me have it. If it's not available, you have many customers. You are telling AWS that you have many customers and you don't have resources for me, no problem. But anytime you have it available, within short notice, let me have it. So that's the meaning of spot request. So depending on what you need it for, it will be set up for you and made available to you and say, okay, it's available now, you can use it now. And just as it was suddenly given to you, it can also be suddenly taken from you on the spot. All right? So depending on what you want to use it for, it will give you the facilities that will enable what you choose. All right, so that's the meaning of spot request. It's theory, so you don't need to spend too much time. Another way that you can make reservation of your instance is reserved instance. Reserved instance means we are going to reserve this server over a long time. So you say purchase reserved instance, all right? And the instance you are many things distracting me right now. Get rid of this so I can see what's behind that. This current reserve instance console is being replaced. Okay, I've heard it. All right, so reserved instance means I want to reserve it for a long time, for 2 years, for 3 years, and so on and so forth. Minimum 12 calendar months. right? This is different from on the spot instance. On the spot instance is just give it to me whenever it's available. I'll use it. I'll release it back to you. But reserve instance, I want to keep it. On the spot instance, you can compare it to you walk into a hotel and say, do you have room? Give it to me. Reserve instance, you can compare it to you want to lease a warehouse for 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, right? So reserve is long term. On the spot is right there on the spot. If you have a contract or you are definite that you remain in business for at least the next 3 years, you want to do reserve, right? Eventually, it's cheaper to have it on the long term compared to just on demand, where you whenever you need it, you just go for it. So that's another way to reserve your spot business, right? Reserve. So this will come out in the exam. They will paint scenarios and ask you what kind of reservation, what kind of reservation should I make for my server based on this scenario? And what are we looking at in all of this? Any of them will work, but what we're looking at majorly is cost saving. Cost saving. This is a major way to save costs because the network you are setting it up for one of the 5 pillars you are setting it up for is cost optimization. It would be wrong for you to set up a server on demand where you'll be paying $3,000 per annum when there is an alternative reservation that will charge you only $500 per annum, right? So you want to look at all the possibilities and choose the best, most suitable for that circumstance, right? So that's reserved. Dedicated host is like reserved, but in the case of reserved and all your cloud resources, actually, you are always sharing the hardware. You know, in your host, you have so many virtual machines, right? You have so many virtual machines. So in cloud, what you are doing is the host, the hardware, would have many virtual machines, and they are just giving you one virtual machine, another person, another virtual machine, all within the same host. But in the case of dedicated, you are saying, I don't want to share virtual machines with anybody. I want the whole host so that all the virtual machines you can possibly create in the host will be for only me. Is that not more expensive?
Yes.
All right. So in the case of dedicated, you are saying, give me the whole host. And there are some licenses, some applications that you need to get license for example, banking. You cannot share a banking application in the same on the same host that has other virtual machines. People just come and rent place this thing near you and use that opportunity to log into your, all right? So for financial transactions and some special licenses, it requires that you have the whole host dedicated to yourself so that nobody will come and be your neighbor and compromise the security of your cloud facility. All right. So that exists, although it's not for everybody, but you can do dedicated host. Scheduled instance. What does that mean? So you can say, I need server to work only between 5 p.m. and 7 p.m. every day. If I go to on demand or I go for reserved, 24 hours a day, every minute of the second, every second of the minute, I am charged. But if you feel that you need this service, these servers only 2 hours a day, then you can do reserved instance. Scheduled instance. All right. So that you would need, the server would be released to you starting from this day, for example, from 5 p.m. only for 2 hours. I mean, 2 hour times window for the duration of for the duration of 4 hours every day.
Sorry, excuse me. Can only see the board.
Oh, okay.
See the AWS.
All right. So here.
Thank you.
All right. We're talking about a scheduled instance and this scheduled instance. All right. So what you do here, you can determine, I want it for this day, every day from only 2 hours, from 5, probably 3 hours or whatever, just change it from, okay, must be greater than 4, must have a minimum of 4 hours, starting from 5 o'clock, then add this. So this is much cheaper than you having a whole server to yourself. Even when you are not using it, the bill is run, right? So exam questions will be like, okay, there is this work that you do 3 hours only on Wednesdays and Thursdays. So to optimize cost, what type of instance are you going to reserve for that purpose? The best answer will be, since you don't need it all the time, you do schedules instead. All right. And then one more, the last one will be capacity reservation. What does that mean? Let's see. Capacity reservation requests are granted or denied based on EC2 instance limits on our available capacity. So basically, you are saying reserve capacity for me. You know, the case of spot was you walk into the hotel and you say, I need a room. For capacity, you actually calling the hotel beforehand to say, reserve the space for me, right? So capacity reservation, you are saying, okay, in 3 days or in 4 days, I would need this. I don't want to come and you don't have it. So you book ahead, so to speak. You are booking ahead, right? So these are the types you can book ahead. I'm sure for the common ones, they have this one. So you don't have everything here. Okay, book this ahead for me. I'm going to run Linux on it. I'm going to run Red Hat on it. I want it on this availability zone, right? Tenancy, run a shared hardware. If you are not running the shared hardware, what's the option? Then you are running a dedicated hardware, which is very, very expensive, right? Well, the usual thing, like I drew on the board, is to have a shared hardware. So you specify what you need and when you need it, and then you say, reserve it for me. That's all. You reserve it for you. Be reserved for you. And then at that time that you specify, you go to your server, the server is up, it's already set up for you according to what you completed above. All right? Please specify a date in the future. It has to be in the future because you are reserving. So, yeah. So that is when you want it. So do you see the different instance type now, and that it is used for cost optimization? Because yes, all instances will do your work, but some type of instances will save you money than using other types of instances. Whether you are using spot, you are using on demand, you are using reserved, you are using dedicated, or you are using any of the other ones, will be determined by your situation, the circumstance.